This is who Tupac's mother decided to rewrite Tupac's name after. Tupac Amaru, who was born in 1545 and died in 1572. We're going to get into who Tupac Amaru was, his life, how he died, and the whole 9 yards. As you can see, Tupac is wearing the same chain as he's wearing. This video is called Me Against the World Part 2, about Tupac's name being changed, the Black Panther, his stepfather, and the Coin Temple going after the Shakurs. So let's get ready. Let's get into it. Tupac Amaru was the last indigenous Morak Sapa Inca of the Neo-Inca state who resisted Spanish colonial rule until his capture and execution in 1572. The years provided 1525 to 1572 likely presented a proposed birth year, and the year of his death through his birth date is generally unconfirmed by historians. Life and rule. Background. Following the Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire, a remnant of the Inca family established a Neo-Inca state in the remote jungle region of Vilcabamba, maintaining a degree of independence of several decades. Rise to power. Tupac Amaru, meaning royal serpent, became a Sapa Inca in 1571, succeeding his brothers Titu, Kusi, Yupanqui. His succession coincided with the arrival of a new, more aggressive Spanish viceroy, Francisco de Toledo, who was determined to end the Inca resistance and capture. Viceroy Toledo launched a military campaign into the Vilcabamba region. Spanish forces invaded the Inca's remote sanctuary. Tupac Amaru attempted to flee further into the Amazon jungle, but was captured among with his family. Execution and legacy. Trial and execution. Tupac Amaru was brought to the Spanish capital of Cusco. After a summary trial, he was publicly beheaded in the city's main square in September 1572. His execution marked the definitive end of the independent Inca Empire. Isn't that funny? How he died in September and Tupac died in September as well? Isn't that funny as hell? Wow. Symbolism. His death turned him into a powerful symbol of indigenous resistance against Spanish oppression throughout the Americas. His name and image have inspired numerous resistance movements and revolutionary figures over the centuries, most notably Tupac Amaru II, who led a major indigenous uprising in Peru in the late 18th century. Tupac Amaru I, the last Sapa Inca of the Neo-Inca state, was executed by beheading by the Spanish in the main square of Cusco, Peru on September 24th, 1572. Tupac was pronounced dead on September 13th. So that's what? 11 more days before Tupac, actual death was pronounced. After the Spanish captured him Following a pursuit into the remote jungle of Belcambamba, he was taken to Cusco and tried for rebellion and other charges. Despite pleas for clemency from several important Spaniard priests, including the Bishop of Cusco, the Viceroy Francisco de Toledo ordered the execution to be carried out as public spectacle. His final moments were met with a large wailing crowd of indigenous people whom he reported silenced with a raised hand before delivering his last words. His head was then placed on a pike and displayed at the scaffold as a warning, but it was later buried with his body after locals began to worship it and leave offerings. Now this is when Tupac's mother decided to change his name to the great, you know what I'm saying, Tupac Amaru II. Tupac Shakur's mother, Afeni Shakur, a prominent political activist and Black Panther member, named him Tupac Amaru Shakur to honor Tupac Amaru II, an 18th century Peruvian revolutionary leader. The name choice was deliberate and carried powerful symbolic meaning, a symbol of resistance. Afeni wanted her son to carry the name of a revolutionary figure who fought against oppression and the colonialism. Tupac Amaru II, whose name means shining serpent or royal serpent in Quechua, the language of the Incas, led by the largest indigenous uprising against Spanish colonial rule in the late 1700s. Connection to world culture. In her own words, Afeni stated, "I wanted him to have the name of revolutionary indigenous people in the world. I wanted him to know he was a part of the world culture and not just from a neighborhood." Legacy of fighting injustice. By naming him after this historical figure, she installed it in her son a legacy of strength, resistance, and an unbreakable spirit dedicated to fighting injustice. Tupac was born as the St. Parish Crooks, a name Afeni initially used on his birth certificate to protect him from the FBI and other authorities who were targeting Black Panther members at the time. She officially changed his name to Tupac Amaru Shakur when he was just about a year old. Wow. So Tupac didn't even carry that Maury the St. Parish Crooks for not even past a year. And the reason why she did it, it was to protect him from the COINTELPRO and the FBI, which we will get into in a little bit. Damn, she was smart. For real. Very, very smart. This is Tupac's stepfather, Mutulu Shakur, God bless the dead. Mutulu Shakur, August 8, 1950, till July 7, 2023 is when he died. Born Jarrell Wayne Williams, was an American activist, a prominent member of the Black Liberation Army, and the stepfather of the late rapper Tupac Shakur. Key details: activism and background. Shakur was a veteran of the Republic of New Africa and the Black Panther Party. He was deeply involved in the Black Liberation Movement and advocate for Black self-determination, acupuncture, and healthcare. He was a certified acupuncturist and co-founded the Black Acupuncture Advisory Association of North America, BAAANA, and the Harlem Institute of Acupuncture. Once again, I read again. He was known for his work in developing an acupuncture-based detoxification protocol, the Lincoln Detox Program for drug addiction that is still used globally. Criminal conviction. Shakur was convicted of a 1988 of conspiracy in the 1981 robbery of a Brinks armed truck in Nyack, New York, in which a guard and 2 police officers were killed. Bullshit. He didn't kill nobody. 28 years later, the judge even told them, we sentenced an innocent man, but he ended up doing even more years in prison, even being an innocent man. Wow. He was also implicated in the 1979 prison escape of fellow Black Liberation Army member Assata Shakur. He maintained that he was a political prisoner, imprisonment and release. He served 37 years out of a 60-year sentence after being diagnosed with terminal multiple myeloma or form of blood cancer. He was granted compassionate release in December 2022. He should have been out even sooner than that. Death: Mutulu Shakur died on July 7, 2023 at the age of 72, just 7 months after his release from prison. 7 months! While with his family in Los Angeles. You can imagine that. This man spent a 37-year sentence for false accusation, conspiracies and theories that he never committed, a murder that he never committed, and a so-called helping and escapee Assata Shakur, who died just recently in Cuba because she escaped to Cuba so she can escape this fucking government of FBI and the CIA and Contempro that was chasing her. The man died 7 months later. Wow, bro, that's crazy, dog. Mutulu Shakur, Black Liberation Movement activist and Tupac's stepdad, has died at the age of 72 after suffering from a rare and incurable form of a blood cancer. Black Liberation Movement activist and Tupac's stepfather, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, has died. He was also a doctor. So you can imagine how many impressive and talented and gifted brothers and sisters the Black Party and the Black Liberation Army had within its power and its member and itself periodically. Wow. Look at that, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, the stepfather of Tupac Shakur, rather to Sahiwa Shakur and former husband of Black Panther Party activist Afeni Shakur, has died. The passing of Shakur, also a Black Liberation Movement elder, comes nearly 7 months after he was released from prison. The 72-year-old served 38 years, which one is it? After being convicted for his alleged involvement in a 1981 bank robbery and murder in Nyack, New York. He did not kill nobody, ladies and gentlemen. I seen the video. I seen when the judge said, we have sentenced an innocent man for a murder that he did not commit. And come to find out, instead of releasing that man from the courtroom that same day, after serving 28 years already, they left him in there for another 10 years. 38 years, 28 and another 10 years. They got him out in 38 years. Damn, boy, this government is crooked, bro. I seen the video myself. I seen when that man was crying because he wanted to come home after 28 years of being wrongly convicted of everything they accused him of. And guess what? He stayed in there for 10 more years. And after being released, he only lived 7 months later at the age of 72 and died with his family in Los Angeles. Son of a bitch. In the 1970s, Shakur was assistant director of the Lincoln Detox Clinic. Look at that. Using acupuncture healing for heroin addict patients. In 1975, he married Afeni Shakur, who was mother to a young Tupac, with former Panther and fellow Black Panther Billy Garland. Certified to practice acupuncture in 1979, Shakur founded and directed The Black Acupuncture Advisory Association of North America, BAAANA, and the Harlem Institute of Acupuncture. Shakur and Afeni divorced in 1982, 6 years before Shakur was tried and convicted in May of 1988. Despite Shakur's divorce from Afeni, he and Tupac remained in contact, tackled extensively in FX, Dear Mama, documentaries after reportedly being denied parole in the last decade. Shakur was granted release in December due to his declining health. Rest in peace, Mutulu Shakur. Man, that's fucked up what they did to that man. They should have never done that man like that. Now we're going to COINTELPRO. And this is COINTELPRO going after the Tupac family. Now, the Shakur family was extensively targeted by the FBI's COINTELPRO counterintelligence program due to their prominent involvement in the Black Panther Party and other black liberation movements. The surveillance and disruption efforts against Tupac's mother, stepfather, and godmother were a direct result of their political activism, and this scrutiny continued into Tupac's own career. The Shakur family and COINTELPRO. Afeni Shakur, mother, a key member of the Black Panthers New York chapter. Afeni was one of the Panthers' 21 arrested in 1969 on conspiracy charges to bomb city landmarks. While pregnant with Tupac, she represented herself in court and won acquittal on all 156 charges in May 1971. Her activism and success in exposing the government tactics made her a prime target for surveillance and harassment. Mutulu Shakur, stepfather, a political activist and member of the Black Liberation Army. Mutulu was on the FBI's most wanted list for years following his involvement in a 1981 armed car robbery that resulted in death. He was a high-profile political prisoner who was targeted by the FBI Anti-Terrorist Task Force, with agents establishing 24-hour surveillance on his clinics and hideouts. Assata Shakur, God bless her soul, she just recently passed away in Cuba. Godmother / auntie of Tupac Shakur, also known as Joanne Chembersworth. She was a member of the Black Liberation Army and the first woman placed on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. She escaped prison after a controversial conviction related to the death of a New York State trooper and was granted political asylum in Cuba, where she remains in exile. She claims she was targeted by the FBI's COINTELPRO, specifically an investigation named Chelsbro, which attempted to link her to numerous crimes. Impact on Tupac Shakur. The government's focus on the Shakur family activities meant Tupac grew up in an environment of constant surveillance and political turmoil. His family history and his own growing influence as a revolutionary voice in hip-hop led to the FBI also amazing a fire on him, particularly concerning an extortion scheme involving the Jewish Defense League. Ain't that some shit? There are claims that U.S. intelligence targeted Tupac using tactics similar to those used against his family members' legacy. The COINTELPRO operations against the Shakur family and other black activists had a lasting impact on public perception on government institutions and fueled distrust. The Shakur's family experiences shed light on a dark chapter of American history where the government exchanged and covered often illegal activities to expose, disrupt, misconduct, discredit, or other neutralize dissecting political movement, which basically they did that against even the government's, you know what I'm saying, rules, even not checking in with the government itself, sitting down, having a meeting. They did that, you know, with no type of direct or order from the president itself or nothing, which basically means they harass, they follow, they put surveillance, and they were on the Tupac Shakur family till they decided that they were going to break up the whole Black Panther Party and the whole Black Liberation Army until it crumbled and it killed or it locked up or it put every member away forever for the group never to come back and stick together as one. Boy, I tell you, boy, the government is crooked, boy. Woo! The FBI's murderous targeting of the Shakurs. On May 2nd, the FBI held the press conference announcing that they were putting the first woman on the FBI's most wanted terrorist, Joanne Chesimard, better known as Assata Shakur. Few knew that the rap icon Tupac Shakur maintained a similar social justice agenda as his godmother Assata. Evidence supports that U.S. intelligence targeted Tupac Shakur using many similar tactics that they used against Assata, Tupac's Panther leader mother Afeni, and Tupac's extended family of Black liberation leaders. The Shakur family was involved in many Black leftist movements. Abba Shakur worked with Marcus Garvey's UNIA and was a close associate of Malcolm X as well. Abba's sons, Lumumba Shakur, started the Harlem Black Panthers. Lumumba's brother Zad was a minister of the information for the Bronx Black Panthers before he was chased underground and co-founded the Black Liberation Army. Lumumba's wife, Tupac's mother, Afeni. That's crazy how all your life you've been targeted because of what your family and your families, neighbors and people that were just tired of them being targeted and being beaten and being whooped and being hung and being burned and being incarcerated and just being basically, extorted to the point where that they came together and formed this army. They formed this party so they could take care of their communities. They could take care of their kids. They could build schools. They could go ahead and build clinics and build things that the government didn't want to help them in, so they decided to build it themselves and create themselves and protect themselves, and the government decided to say, let's eliminate them because they're not following our obligations, our rules, our legislations, and what we want them to do, and that's being a puppet and being a slave. The Black Panthers weren't having that shit. So this is exactly what the COINTELPRO, the FBI, and the government did. So for Tupac to grow up and live this life, man, I can imagine what that man went through in his childhood. Damn, that shit's crazy. Here we go. Army Lumumba's wife, Tupac's mother, Afeni, which I just read before, helped lead the Harlem Black Panthers. The undercover intelligence agents who first arrived at Malcolm X's bodies, Gene Roberts, infiltrated and helped form the New York Panthers as part of the FBI counterintelligence program COINTELPRO against leftist activists. The New York Panthers bubbled. The New York 21st were jailed for 2 years before they were acquitted in 1971. Lumumba divorced Afeni when she got pregnant with Tupac while out on bond. The FBI had stepped up its COINTELPRO tactics around the time of the New York 21 trial. One of their tactics involved what was bubbled and East Coast versus West Coast Panther War. The FBI created fake letters and sent them between Afeni's New York Panthers and Huey Newton's Oakland Nation Panther office. Boy, I tell you, boy. Woo! Woo! You see what I'm talking about? And people want to talk about, oh, our government is good. Our government, they don't do that. They ain't crooked. They ain't nasty like that. They're not, you know what I'm saying, corrupted like that. We here for the people. This is the land of the free. Yeah, right. Look what they did to Tupac and his family and so many black people back in them days. For real? Okay, play with it. Bronx Black Panther Joanne Chesimard, in fear for her own life after having fellow activists framed and killed, followed her close friend Zayed Underground. Out of respect for Zayed and the Shakur family, she exchanged her name to Assata Shakur while in Hinton in 1971. That same year, Afeni named her new son Tupac Amaru Shakur after the last Incan leader and raised him to be a black prince of the revolution. Afeni named her close comrade Los Angeles Panther leader Geronimo Pratt. Later changed it. Jaga, Tupac's godfather. Assata was named Tupac's godmother. Tupac grew up calling her Auntie Assata. By the mid-1970s, Afeni had moved in with Lumumba's adopted brother, Mutulu. Mutulu was assistant director of Lincoln Detox in the Bronx and a co-founding member of the national activist group, the Republic of New Africa. Targeting Assata, the FBI started a propaganda campaign against Assata Shakur, calling her the revolutionary mother hen of the Black Liberation Army. They accused the wow, I can't believe they just call it blah, of murdering a number of New York police officers. Most of these accusations came with little evidence and few valid convictions. As you can see, the FBI conducted a nationwide manhunt for Assata in 1972. Posters with her face appeared in police precincts and banks that cited her involvement in serious criminal activities, putting her on the FBI's most wanted list. And to all levels of police, she became a shoot-to-kill target. Imagine that. In May 1973, New Jersey pulled over Zayed and Assata Shakur's car. Police fatally shot Zayed while wounding Assata and former partner 21. Member Sundiata Akoli. Shots from one of the three killed a police officer. Assata said that police proceeded to beat her at the scene and torture her in a hospital. She said that in the hospital she was only saved from more torture when a nurse intervened, but she said prison officials used torture tactics on her thereafter. New Jersey police charges Assata with killing the police officer. The case didn't reach trial for 4 years because prosecutors brought Assata to trial 6 times for alleged involvement in a half dozen other major criminal actions from 1971 to 1973. They failed to gain a conviction at any of those hearings. Ain't that some shit? Wow, dog. In 1976, Assata trial lawyer Stanley Cohen reported several breakthroughs in her case. He was found dead from a physical attack soon after with all his papers stolen. Imagine that. At the trial, William Kunstler, Lennox Higgs, her aunt Evelyn Williams, and Assata's other lawyers presented tests and medical experts to prove her innocence in court. For example, Assata's fingers tested negative for gun residue. That test and doctors' findings supported that police shot Assata while she was in a seated position with her hands raised. They said the bullet immediately serve a medium nerve that wouldn't have allowed Assata to pull a gun trigger. Nonetheless, prosecutors want a conviction against her for killing the police officer. They still got away with their corruption. In 1979, Assata Shakur escaped from prison. Mutulu Shakur, Sylvia Dini, former Panther, Shakur, Odanga, and underground members, Marlon Buck, were charged with helping Assata's prison break. Mutulu was also charged with conspiracy involvement in a bricks bank robbery and went into hiding. Several days before Mutulu was captured in Louisiana in 1986, Lumumba was found dead nearby despite the judge finding the FBI using illegal cointemporal action against Mutulu. He and Odinga are still serving as political prisoners. Early police attacks. While Tupac was still in his late teens, the new African Panthers elected him as their national chair, according to his business manager. By the age of 20, Tupac left his Panther leadership, realizing he could add money and influence to his activism as a rapper. Police attack issued. First, police choked Tupac unconscious and pounded his head against a curb several days after his MTV video debut in 1991. Tupac manager Tahimba confirmed that Tupac started hiding his radical leftist politics behind a gangster rap facade around this time in order to appeal to gangs and then politicize them. This was part of his Panther family work in extending peace trusses between the Bloods and Crips that started in Los Angeles. Many of these gangs members quit dealing drugs and got into community activism. In 1983, police watched as gunmen shot at Tupac at a public event. Instead of arresting the shooter, they only arrested Tupac and his stepbrother, Mutulu's son, Mopreme. This occurred in the California Bay Area, where FBI Chief Richard Held Steele presided and was caught covering up Newton's murder. Attacking increases. U.S. intelligence linked attacks continue against Tupac Shakur, with witnesses saying that alleged off-duty Atlanta cops ran up to Tupac's car, broke his window with a gun, and shot at him in 1993 while Tupac grabbed a guard's gun, shot back at them. He wasn't found guilty, as it also came out in court that the cop used a gun stolen from an evidence locker. A police officer said this is commonly known as a throwaway gun that could easily be discarded as an illegal police murder. Damn, dog. The shit that Tupac had to deal with. My goodness, bruh. That's why, bruh, he will forever be my GOAT, because everything he rapped in his music, he went through it. You understand what I'm saying? Even as a kid, even as a young man, even as him leaving his leadership to leave rap, to influence himself, to becoming a strong, powerful activist, to gain money, they still went at him. They were relentless. They would not give up when it came to him and his family. Damn, bro, that's fucked up. A few weeks later, in 1993, evidence supports that undercover agents set up a sexual abuse conviction that landed him in jail. I already know about that. We all know about that. Tupac's New York trial lawyer for that case was Michael Tariff Warren, renowned for his work freeing the Central Park Five and as a European spokesperson for the Free Mia campaign. Warren found strong evidence that Tupac's confidant, Haitian Jacques Agnew, was a police agent who had set up the situation as part of a frame-up. Yup, that's what he was talking about, Haitian Jack and the song Against All Odds and shit like that. And Tupac used to hang with Haitian Jack. They were cool, but let me tell you something. Haitian Jack wasn't nothing to be fucked up with. Haitian Jack was a bad motherfucker. And even him being that type of bad motherfucker, you still will see him partying with Madonna, with rappers and actors. Yeah, now he's in Haiti or in Santo Domingo, one of them two places, because he was deported back over there to his country. But man, Haitian Jack was a motherfucker. I ain't even finna lie to you. Murderous attacks on Tupac Shakur continue in New York. Gunmen went into a Times Square recording studio lobby and put 2 bullets in Tupac's skull that miraculously missed his brain. A studio guard tried to give police a security video of the gunman, but police refused it. Why they refused it? Because they wanted Tupac dead. Listen to this man's story, dawg. You think most of these rappers go through this shit that Tupac went through? No, man. That's why Tupac's story is so legendary, bro. Man, I tell you, dawg. Calling it a random mugging and halted their investigation, similar to the diverse diversive tactics used on the Panthers. People tried to convince Tupac that his friend and fellow rap star Christopher Biggie Small Wallace had a connection to his Times Square shooting. The media bubble that fueled the East versus West rap war, just like Tupac Amaru when it came to the East and West Coast war. Wow, how similar, dawg. Wow, dawg, that shit's crazy, dawg. But Death Row cops attack. U.S. intelligence had a number of undercover agents working in the music industry. For example, a high-level police detective, Russell Poole, found dozens and dozens of his fellow cops at all levels of Death Row Records. One of Poole's superiors said these cops could be seen as covert agents, like basically crooked-ass cops. Police reports found that Death Row was also involved in trafficking drugs and guns. Death Row Suge Knight and his moonlighting Los Angeles police employees further tried to end the Bloods versus Crips peace truce on which Tupac and his extended Panther family had worked. This was coordinated by Death Row's head of security, former police officer Reggie White Jr. Wright's father headed the Compton, California Police Department Gang Division. Compton was one of the first Los Angeles neighborhoods where the Bloods and Crips called peace troops are turned to activism. While Tupac had been in prison, correctional officers used penal insertion techniques on him. This and Death Row manipulations led Tupac to produce his most negative lyrics. 10 days before Tupac was fatally shot, he finalized his leaving of Death Row by firing his lawyer. Death Row founding owner Dave Kenner. One of Tupac's bodyguard was FBI agent Kevin Hackey. After Tupac's death, Hackey said he had documents proving that other FBI agents were in cars following Tupac when gunmen murdered him in Las Vegas. Los Angeles Sun Police reported Kathy Scott also said that the FBI presence was widely already known. Besides evidence supporting that the Los Angeles police officers working for Death Row aided in Tupac's murder, these undercover police agents appear to have the goal of ending the gang peace truce. They did this through starting conflicts among gang members in Death Row. Part of the evidence around the FBI targeting of Tupac Shakur was a Justice Department worker saying Tupac had over 4,000 pages in his FBI file. While only 99 pages were released, CIA documents, court documents, hundreds of personal interviews, and thousands of articles and books show how U.S. intelligence targeted Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Which is targeting him. The cover-up, though, media censorship, and many more killings has appeared to go on even longer than his adult life. Since Tupac's death, other linked murder include Tupac's backup singer, Yafeu Fula, the son of the Bronx Black Panther co-founder Shakur Ondinga, and Tupac's business partner Yasman Fula. Fula was the top witness to Tupac's murder, saying he thought he could identify the shooter. Another murder linked to Tupac was Tupac's former rap star friend Christopher Biggie Smalls Wallace. Police Department Russell Poole was assigned to Biggie's murder investigation and said that he found his fellow police officers murdered Biggie to cover up the murder of Tupac. They hope to make it look like part of the East/West rap war. Things that make you go, Among with other linked murderers, Tupac's bodyguard in the car behind Tupac, Frank Alexander, was found dead of a gunshot wound to the head on April 28, 2013, 4 days before the FBI announced they were putting Assata Shakur on the FBI most terrorist list. Alexander had co-produced the film Tupac Assassination and a sequel released in 2009 that incriminated the Los Angeles police officers working at death row. Police told the Huffington Post that the death is being investigated as a suicide without giving an explanation of why. They weren't also investigating it as a possible homicide. They killed him, and the reason why they killed him is because he was exposing the document and the documentation and everything when it came to Tupac, when the night that Tupac was assassinated. That's why they murdered his ass, because they wanted him quiet. Rest in peace to him anyways. And then it says John Potach is the author of the FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. Basically just stating, you know what I'm saying, where he's from, what university, what he studied, and how he was able to collaborate, you know what I'm saying, and do the Tupac studying and his life and everything. So you can see that in the bottom. You feel what I'm saying? And as you can see here, it also states he's the author of the FBI War on Tupac and Black Leaders. Like I said before, graduate student from Columbia University. He published award-winning National Socialist Work School reporter, etc., etc. The Black Panther Party, BPP. Originally, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was a revolutionary black power organization founded in Oakland, California in 1966 by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. It emerged from a frustration with the slow pace of the nonviolent civil rights movement and the ongoing issues of police brutality and poverty in black urban communities. The original BPP officially dissolved in 1982. History and ideology. Founding principle, the BPP was heavily influenced by the teachings of Malcolm X and revolutionary figures like Mao Zedong. Its platform was outlined in a 10-point program which demanded freedom, full employment, decent housing, education that taught true black history, and an end to police brutality, and the release of all black prisoners. You see what I told you? That's why they built the Black Panthers. But after the Black Panthers, all this they discombobulated, they killed everybody, put everybody in prison, and broke up the Black Panther. That's when the Bloods and Crips came in. You see? But when the Bloods and Crips came in, it was the same as the Black Panther. It was to protect the neighborhood, protect the kids against police brutality and everything. But it all did a reverse psychology, and then it turned into colors, murdering, drugs, and all that good stuff. And that's why, oh man, there's just so much that I can say about this, bruh. But that's how Bloods and Crips were built. Once the Black Panther was broken up, that's when the Bloods and Crips came in. Tactics. The party gained national attention for its armed copy-watching patrols using California's open carry laws to monitor police activity in black neighborhoods and ensure residents' rights were not violated. This militant stance was a sharp contrast to the Pacific's approach of other civil rights groups. Committee programs from 1969 onward, the BPP focused heavily on community survival programs to address the systemic inequities their communities face. These include the successful free breakfast for children program, free health clinics which offer testing for sick cell diseases, legal aid and transportation services for the families of inmates. Structure. The party had dozens of chapters across major U.S. cities and attracted a diverse membership, which at its peak around 1970 included up to 5,000 full-time members, many of whom were women. Damn, I didn't even know that. Incline and dissolution. The BPP faced intense external and internal pressure that led to its decline and eventual dissolution. Government repression. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, the most racist motherfucking FBI agent that ever existed. But guess what happened to him? He disappeared. So the same issue and inflicted of harassment and everything that he did with the COINTELPRO towards the Black Panther, he ended up suffering the same consequence. He ended up disappearing and they never found his body. Ain't that some shit? But it says, declared the BPP the greatest threat to the internal security of the country in 1969 and initiated the COINTELPRO, like I said, counterintelligence program to disrupt and dismantle the organization. This involves surveillance, infiltration, character assassination, and lethal force, including the assassination of leaders like Fred Hampton in 1969. Internal conflict. The party also suffered from internal rifts, ideological disagreements, especially between Huey Newton and Ed Ridge Cleaver, and accusations of criminal activity and financial mismanagement, which were often exacerbated by the FBI provocators. Formal end. Huey Newton disbanded the organization in 1982 amidst legal troubles. Legacy. The BPP's legacy is profound and continues to influence modern social justice movements, including Black Lives Matter. The party is remembered for redefining the struggle for racial justice as a fight for political power and community control. Pioneer community-based social welfare programs such as the Free Breakfast Program, which influenced the establishment of a federal school meal programs. Challenging and exposing widespread police brutality and advocating for self-defense and accountability. The new Black Panther Party, founded in 1989 as a separate organization with different ideologies and no official link to the original BPP. Several former Panther members remain active in the communities or are still advocating for social change today, while others remain incarcerated for crimes committed during the era. See, but the COINTELPRO didn't just dismantle the Black Panther Party. Oh no, it goes deeper than that, my peoples. Besides the Black Panthers, the FBI COINTELPRO counterintelligence program targeted major civil rights groups, including the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and the Congress of Racial Equity, and the NAACP. The FBI disrupted these groups using tactics designed to expose, disrupt, misdirect or otherwise neutralize them and their leaders, primarily through psychological warfare, infiltration, legal harassment, and attempts to undermine public opinion. Tactics used against other groups. COINTELPRO employed various tactics to disrupt civil rights groups beyond the Black Panthers. A primary focus was on targeting leadership, particularly Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whom the FBI saw as a potential unifying figure among black nationalist groups. Tactics against King and the SCLC included extensive surveillance attempts to discredit him through the dissemination of negative personal information and efforts to disrupt campaigns like the Poor People's Campaign. Another key strategy was to create eternal conflict and paranoia within and between organizations. The FBI used informants and anonymous communications to sow discourse, sometimes resulting in violence, and infiltrated groups like SNCC and CORE to exacerbate divisions and push them toward more radical positions. Efforts were also made to undermine public support and resources by pursuing nonprofits to withdraw funding and planting false stories in the media to damage the reputation of individuals and organizations. The FBI aimed to block leaders from publicly spreading their ideas. Legal and legal harassment included false arrests and the use of fabricated evidence. The FBI's use of informants was linked to violent incidents such as attacks on Freedom Riders and the Birmingham Church bombing. These disruptive activities extended to other groups like the Nation of Islam and the American Indian Movement, as well as anti-war groups and some white hate groups. The ultimate goal was to prevent the group of movements that challenged the established social and political order. So you see, this is just 1/5 of what Tupac went through in his life. I will come out with a part 3. I'm telling you right now, this is nothing of what Tupac went through. This is just some of the things that him, the Black Panther, his mother, his stepfather, his auntie, which is his godmother, his godfather, and so many others, even the Black Panther Party, Liberation Army went through. And still through all that, Tupac knew that he was going to be assassinated and murdered. So regardless of what change the Black Panther Party tried to do and whatever black activism or culturalism or whatever party they tried to gather together, the COINTELPRO and FBI broke it up with lies, manipulations, with chaos, paranoia, and established to discredit them, put false narratives and lies about them until they were able to destroy the whole Black Panther Party, and they also assassinated Tupac Shakur. Tupac's mom is dead now, God bless her soul. Assata Shakur passed away just a little while ago, God bless her soul. Mutulu Shakur is gone now, God bless his soul. Tupac is gone, God bless to the GOAT, the greatest of all time rapping. So you see, when people say that Tupac was not that rapper, that Tupac didn't live the life that, he said that he was rapping about, y'all better go ahead and check this man's story and check his whole life story and see what his family went through. For everybody else, y'all put your comments down below. And part 3 will be coming out really soon. You know what I'm saying? I got to put all this, wording together and editing is very tiring. But you know what? When it comes to Tupac, when it comes to me doing my work the right way, I'm going to make sure that I bring it to the public, and I make sure I'm going to make my videos, so where you can understand where this man resignated, went through his family, what they did to him, what they did to his family, and just everything that he went through, and how he talked about it in his music, and how he died knowing that this was gonna happen to him, just like it happened to his family members, just like it happened to so many people that were related to him and that knew his family, and also just like it happened to who? The man you see on my left, Mr. Tupac Amaru II. Y'all go ahead and leave y'all comments down below. Peace.